Eric Francis. If you're watching the stream, you see him there looking dapper as per usual.
There it is.
I'm trying to wrap my head with a coffee. What do you got in there?
Yeah.
I mean, you strike me as a tea guy.
I am a tea guy, but at 50, well, at my advanced age, never had a cup of coffee in my life. Now I can't stop drinking lattes. I know that doesn't go over big in the Regina set, but like I'm telling you, it all started with espresso martinis. That was my gateway to coffee. Isn't that weird? Usually, something's a gateway to alcohol. This was the other way around.
Yeah.
Now I drink a latte a day. My wife says it's not very good.
There's you need to get a barista or whatever my wife bought, that contraption. You see it everywhere now. It's got the cylinders with booze, and then you buy the little like K-cup almost things, and she makes espresso martinis in this thing, Eric, and they are like, it's like we're at the barber shop in Las Vegas. They're so good. I'll send you a picture.
I love that reference. The barbershop's one of the greatest bars left in America.
You got it.
Oh, that's awesome.
See? It's gonna hang out more.
And by the way, come on. Do we have to address this here and now? Two things. First of all, that shirt that Bidsy's wearing, what is that? Marijuana on there? Are those little marijuana buds? I can't tell.
Yeah. No.
Second of all.
No.
No, they're okay. You explain yourself first. What is that?
I don't know. I think there's some type of flowers or whatever. I don't know. I got it at the Kananaskis golf course. I thought it was a sharp little tarp. I didn't have a golf shirt that day. Went into the shop.
What did you show up in, a t-shirt?
You went in the shop with no tarp on?
No, I don't know. Something happened to it. I don't know. I went in there and bought this, or I bought it after. I can't remember. It's from Canada. It's a nice. I like it.
Okay, what's the second thing?
What's the second one? We got to address.
Second thing is it's not espresso. It's espresso. I can't believe there's still people in the world who don't have that right. It's espresso. E-S, no X in espresso.
You talked about lattes, and immediately when you started talking about lattes, Curtis put his mic to his, because he's got a man bun on. So today,
nothing about lattes, but completely unrelated. We don't do callbacks here, but we will for today. Last time Eric was on, he was like, "Man, I really wish I had that elf costume, Like, so I made a little early Christmas present just for a man, Eric, over there. Look at him. He's looking so sharp.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sucking back an espresso.
Yeah.
Espresso. Yes, fresh off the latte.
Okay. What's the deal with this trade that went down today?
Well, look, Colorado's desperately been trying to. I don't think they can be considered a contender. I know they've got two of the, one of the best forwards, if not the best forward this year in the NHL, and without question, the best defenseman we've seen in the last 5 years, and probably for the next 10 in Cale Makar. But I don't think they can be considered a legitimate contender, and I don't think they can be a legitimate contender with that goaltending they've had for the last couple of years. Even the year they won the cup with Grubauer in net, it's a miracle that they overcame a guy like Grubauer to win that cup. Like, you look what Grubauer is now. He's hanging by a thread. His career is pretty much over. And so what they're doing is they go and acquire Mackenzie Blackwood today. It's a pretty significant trade, guys. I mean, we always kind of moan about there's not enough trades in the NHL. Well, we're starting to see more, it seems like, these days. And I'm not convinced Mackenzie Blackwood is the answer, but I am pretty convinced that he's better than Georgiev, who's a pending UFA, and they really got nothing invested in him moving forward. So I like the move. I'm not sold on Blackwood, but one of the stats that jumps out at me is, like, he's had 4 shutouts in his career, over 40 saves. I think he's one of only like 3 goalies that have ever done that. So when he's hot, that shows me that he can be pretty hot. But we'll see. He's got to be a massive upgrade, in my opinion, to Georgiev. So they paid handsomely for Blackwood, which I think shocks a lot of people. But I actually think, big picture, they had to do something with that goaltending.
I kind of forgot that he was even around. Like, I'm like, Blackwood. I'm like, where's he playing? I guess they don't watch a lot of San Jose Shark games nowadays.
Right. He's in the backwoods, right?
Yeah, for sure. I remember, obviously, when he was at the Devils. So like you said, it's good to see a trade come down. Okay, Are we going to play the video, or are we worried about going to jail again? YouTube jail. We don't have to play it. If you don't want to play it, don't play it. The teddy bear toss, if anyone saw this, we retweeted it at sportscage.com. Teddy bear toss, first time I've ever seen this. Teddy bear toss, and then a fight, a partial brawl breaks out. Where is it? Is it in Ottawa? Is that where it was, Eric?
Ottawa 67s. Yeah. They're playing a game. I think it's against Barrie and Bedlam. Not like just pandemonium. Like pandemonium. That's maybe where it comes from. Anyway, this story just cracks me up. And there's also another story over the last week. Michael Misa, a pretty highly touted prospect, was in another teddy bear toss game.
Sorry, we have that video.
Get there, but
we have that video.
Show these videos because it's fantastic. Misa's the guy kind of meandering back towards his bench against the grain there. And he's firing teddy bears
with his stick
back into the crowd.
But I wouldn't say firing. Like he's barely... And he's getting suspended for this.
Yeah, he's getting suspended a game for it. It is... I don't think it's that big a deal, but it is kind of disrespectful. And I don't think at any time are you ever really allowed to wantonly send something back into the crowd unless it's a puck that you're just giving to a fan. Like, generally speaking, it's frowned upon to fire projectiles back into the crowd.
I can't believe, can't see why he's getting suspended for it. The brawl at the teddy bear toss, though, it's like the first time we saw two guys go at it in an outdoor game, right? It was like, that's got to happen. Fighting, it's like fighting on the ODR. So the fighting when the teddy bears rain down.
It's a line brawl.
It's a
straight line brawl. Like all five guys are involved. There's guys on the ice, on their bellies. In a couple cases, 2-on-2. It's pretty incredible. Like all I kept thinking about as those guys are doing that is them telling the story 5, 10, 15 years from now about the time they got into a line brawl while 20,000 teddy bears rained down on top of them. That's a great story.
If you want to see the video, 'cause we don't want to get in trouble, you can go see it at the Sports Cage on Twitter. It's fantastic stuff. Our clutch performer for Nick Service and Emmer Park's coming up here in a bit, but I feel like we need to give one to Jaromir Jagr. I again forgot that he's still playing.
Yeah. Well, part of why he's playing is he's trying to save that franchise, right? He owns that team in his hometown and Clodno. And he said many times when he was playing here in Calgary, like, it's hanging by a thread, and he doesn't want to ever retire because when he retires, people are like, well, now there's absolutely no reason to go see Clodno. So he's playing spot duty. He's not signing. He's not playing every day. But he got a goal the other day at age 52. And this guy is without question the biggest enigma in the history of the NHL. And I would argue one of the biggest rock stars our sport's ever had, in a sport where rock star is not a term we ever use to describe anytime, right? I mean, guys are generally pretty bland. They blend in. They're team guys, good Western Canadian kids. But when he was in town in Calgary, I wrote this story a couple of years ago, and I couldn't believe the traction it got. Like, he was so different. He was the only guy ever granted a key to the dressing room because he only slept in 4-hour increments, and he would get up at any time of the day or night and head over to the dome. Like 2 a.m, he had a key to the Saddle Dome, would go in and skate at 2 a.m, 4 a.m, midnight, didn't matter to him. And they just let him do it because he's friggin' Jaromir Jagr. Like, the rock stars get whatever they want. And another story that their guy told me, like, they used to call his stall around, and he was the only guy who's ever asked for a corner stall. Nobody wants the corner stall, but he wanted it because he always had 6 or 7 pairs of skates in front of him, and he had sticks, he had voodoo dolls, he had all sorts of stuff like Jobu. It was, and they used to called his locker stall Sport Check. They used to call it Sport Check because he had so much equipment there. It was like you could go get anything you wanted. And he brought a bottle of water that he said was blessed by the Pope, and it still is in the Calgary Flames equipment manager's locker room. And no one ever touches it. They're terrified to do it. Legend has it that one former Flame player, well, current Flame player, and I won't say who it was, actually was in a big streak, a bad streak, and took a little bit of the holy water, just like a water bottle, and he sprinkled it on his stick, on his tape, and he went -3 that night and never did it again. And and Yager, they don't even know what Yager used to do with it, but he'd take it into a private room and then bring it back out after every game. So just when you say Jaromir Yager, I put a big smile on my face because I say they'll never make another guy like that.
Yeah, and he's probably laughing. He's like, so these guys in Calgary, who I told them it's from the Pope, and they still to this day have it on the shelf. They think it's from the Pope. Yeah,
100%. It's probably not from the Pope at all. I get that, but he was very religious. So I'm not sure he'd lie about something religious because he had a cross that they would sew into his glove. He wanted it sewn into his glove, and he would switch gloves every single week. So they had to rip it out and then sew it back into another glove every single week. And that was Jaromir Jagr. Love it.
The key to the rink thing, that is like so small town Sasky. Like, my dad had a key to the rink. So I would just go and skate. Meanwhile, it's the Saddle Dome. Wow.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like a scene from Youngblood? Isn't that Rob Lowe working on his penalty shots or something like that? Wasn't it? Didn't he go into the rink on his own in the middle of the night or something like that?
Well, they have the scene setter where he's out there doing, and he kicks the puck up and all that, but I don't know if he had
I've wanted to show my son that movie for years, and I can't even remember. Like, I haven't watched it since like 40 years ago when it came out.
What do you need to know? I watch it like 10 times a year.
You can't find it. I can't find it anywhere.
You got to buy it on one of the streaming services. You got to buy it. So
that negates me. I can't do that. I can't.
It's the same price as a espresso martini. So I'm sure you can get it.
I can't find it. I'm curious. Okay.
I'll ask my wife where she found, and then I'll send you the link. Okay, what I heard today that there is some soft tampering by the Sens owner. Did I read that right?
Yeah, so they're at the Board of Governors meetings, and Michael Andlauer pulled a couple guys aside and really went to town, moaning and complaining about a column that Larry Brooks wrote in the New York Post last week, saying that basically opining that, the New York Rangers at some point might or could or should take a run at Brady Tkachuk. And listen, anyone can connect two dots and suggest that, some team wants to take a run at the biggest unicorn in the National Hockey League. Like, who wouldn't want to take a run at him if you're a big market city and you're used to getting all the big names? But Andlauer sees this as what he calls soft tampering, because he's claiming that this was information that the Rangers have somehow parlayed to a writer, and the writer is doing it on behalf of the organization to some degree, and it's considered soft tampering because it now puts the seed of doubt in there, or at least puts the seed in the mind of Brady Tkachuk that, geez, if I don't want to stay in Ottawa, which a lot of people figure eventually he'll come to that conclusion, that it started here with some soft tampering. And I'll say two things about it. Michael Andlauer is a very interesting character who I think is going to become known as one of the biggest thorns in this commissioner's side, because he's not scared to kind of make these sort of accusations out loud and stir the pot. And the second thing is, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that just because some guy wrote it, like, what's the next thing? Some blogger in his basement writing something similar and someone claiming that this is tampering? It's just a court of public opinion. Like, if they can connect Larry Brooks with an interview with an owner or, someone with the Rangers, then you've got a case. But until you can prove it with an email or something, there's no story here.
I was going to ask you about the Jacob Trouba trade there, and a lot of people talking about how that went down, or Jacob at least mentioning in some interviews that basically what was happening is that the Rangers, of course, were going to maybe threaten him with putting him on the waivers, and then he wouldn't really have a choice of where he may land. And it ended up being in Anaheim, which I thought was a pretty good spot to land. Hey, if you're going to go from New York Rangers, Anaheim's not that bad. I mean, hey, I would have taken that for sure.
Depends if you want to win or not.
Well, I mean, I guess soft spots to land, but it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a place that you don't want to live, and they are also not a very good team. But maybe just a little bit more of your thoughts
Ottawa.
on that trade. Yeah.
Could be Ottawa. Anyway, I listen, I guess it all boils down to me, Bidsy, is that the notion that, a player is protected by a no trade clause, or in this case, a partial no trade clause, is absolutely laughable to me. If you make it clear as an organization, which clearly the Rangers did in various ways, like we've known for a while that they've wanted to get rid of Trouba. And it's got to be an awful feeling for an athlete, for a human being to work somewhere where it's being made known by your employer that you're not long for that company or that you're not wanted there. And so Trouba can fight it and scratch and claw all he wants and moan and complain. And I actually think he's handled it quite professionally. But at the end of the day, when an organization decides they're going to move on from you for whatever reason, for conduct, for your play, or for your salary, they're just going to be able to do it 9 times out of 10. So a lot of people are really coming down on the Rangers for kind of handling this in what some people thought was a really harsh way by threatening waivers. But at the end of the day, they were going to make a move no matter what. So if they could work in some sort with the player, then the player would have some say as opposed to going on waivers. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make in all this.
I love it. It's like that Seinfeld episode where Costanza just won't leave. And they keep pushing him down, and it's like, they know they don't want him here, but then just make their life hell. Fight fire with fire.
Exactly.
Okay, when we're talking about trades in New York, and anyone that's ever been to we've talked about this, you ever been to a game at Madison Square Garden, you get why they love playing there. Like, I went to a Sunday game against the Coyotes, and I felt like I was in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. It was crazy. Yeah. What would be, I kind of think I know, what would be the top 3 or 5-ish cities that a player would want to go to right now in this current NHL?
Ooh. Like the Rangers would have to be there, not just because I think they're a contender. I know they've struggled to start this year and there's all sorts of issues there, but it's a blue shirt. It's the blue shirts, man. Like, it's Madison Square Garden. It's New York City. It's the entertainment capital of the world, that arena.
Has Vegas jumped up to and then you got the no state tax thing.
Oh yeah, Vegas is like top 2 or 3 probably amongst the players in the league. Like, you go there, you live in the life. They all
not
live
the
in
wife.
No, they all live in this great spot. In Summerlin, Vegas is up there. Okay, let's go Vegas. You want to say Leafs, but it's not. Like, Leafs, so many people don't want to be part of that, that cesspool of, and all the scrutiny and all that. So, I'd say the blue shirts, Tampa and both the Florida teams are still very much in demand. Tax reasons, weather reasons. Like, it's hard to compete with those sort of places now that they've established themselves as world-class organizations in world-class cities and great hockey markets too.
No state tax in Dallas, and you get a lot of house for just a lot of area. Like, if you don't want to live in the condo-ish Chicago, Philly, New York,
Brownstone.
I would think Dallas would be in there.
100%. And you and I both, we've talked endlessly about how much we think of the team right now too, and how that window is probably there for the next 3 or 4 years for them to be a legitimate contender. You combine the weather there. And plus they have a real nice touch there. When you go to Dallas, when you go to the games, they've got little stickers in every window that say no firearms inside. And I think that's really comforting to know that, you can play a game and not worry that anybody's got a machine gun or anything in their arms. It's a nice touch.
Yeah. What a marketing idea. Those stickers should be sponsored by somebody.
By a firearms company.
That's good.
Smith and Wesson.
Yes, we got to. Before we let you go, we're building. We using that term loosely. Top 16 Christmas songs of all time. A bracket. Top seed for sure. Like, no hands down, is Dolly Parton, Hard Candy Christmas. But what if Eric Francis could put a tune in?
Let's go along with it.
In here.
I'd put Elvis's Blue Christmas, but the one that because I think that would have a chance in a bracket to get through a couple rounds. But my favorite of all time won't make your top 16, I guarantee you. It's called Candy Cane Lane by Sia. You ever heard of it?
By who?
Sia.
Seal?
He's like a pop star.
Seal.
It's just
not Seal. Sia.
not Seal. Sia.
Kiss from a Rose style.
Seal? Oh, I know that guy. Okay, he's a good singer. I don't remember the song though.
Okay, you know what? If we get a couple more for Blue, I'll have a blue. I know that song. Hey.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Gorgeous.
If I can ask you, we got to settle a debate here because Boney M's in the tournament, but Boney M's got two songs. They got Feliz Navidad and Mary's Boy Child.
Oh my Lord.
Which one do we go with?
The one I was singing, oh my Lord.
I think it's Feliz Navidad he's singing, isn't it?
No, it's hard to tell what
Mary's Boy Child. That's Mary's Boy Child. Okay, Colson.
Is it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay,
long time ago in Bethlehem.
Yeah.
That one?
Okay, Eric says that's one we should go with. Okay, so when you're with Maz. Well, my list.
I like that one. I like that. No, I was talking before you were on, we were talking a little bit about the Boney M. I was saying at the Bidwell house, my parents had the big stereo, made out of oak, with a big flip top on. And when the Boney M record went on there, I knew it was Christmas time. I knew my dad, my uncles were going to get into the sauce, get the turtlenecks on. There was going to be some squares, some dainties on the table. I was going to try to get in there. My mom was going to slap my hands and everybody was going to come over. The ladies would have a nice brooch on and their hair all hairsprayed up, and it was going to be a good night. It was always the Boney M record around Christmas time in our house.
Yeah. And part of that tradition, everyone in your family wore that shirt that you're wearing right now with the little tufts of holly. Because I think that's holly. I can't tell for sure, but I think it's holly in there.
Yeah,
it might be a little bit of holly. We had a tablecloth with this on it, and we brought it out at Christmas time.
Yeah,
and my mom made me this shirt.
If your dad poured an espresso martini, back in the day, it was straight whiskey on the rocks. Okay, we gotta go. We got the boys are telling me we gotta go. When you're with Maz on Wednesday, you guys, we'll see where the bracket's at. We'll see if Elvis makes it, Francis. Okay. Thanks, buddy. Talk to you again.
See you, brother.
Cheers, boys.
That is.